heard so many good things about Guam before, and I'm so excited I came here finally. So we're expecting some good tennis matches during the week. So please come and cheer up for our players.
Oh, how many of you know that I'm already retired from professional tennis? Now I'm more helping other players and other persons around tennis to become either good professional tennis players or sometimes even just to enjoy the sport and find passion in tennis. And since I was helping one of these players and he's playing here, his name is Patrick Davidson. We were looking for a tournament where to go, and we plan to go to Asia. And we know from the past that Guam Future was already a couple of years before in place, and then suddenly pops up in the calendar. So I just got in contact with Torben. I emailed him, he thought maybe it's a spam or something in the first time that somebody like me is emailing him, but then we keep in contact, and we made a deal that he will give Patrick a white card and I will play myself in the tournament, so he can get some good name in the draw, he can promote the tournament, and I still enjoy tennis. I still play a lot of matches during the year, and you don't see me on the tournaments, but in Europe we have competitions that is called team matches, club competitions. Each country has their own competition. It's like a soccer league. You have teams where every country has. And I play about 8 to 9 countries during the year, about 45 matches still, which is a lot. So I still fit, and that's why I offered Torben that I can play. I'm still fit, and if it's helped him, I will be very happy, and I can still enjoy matches because tennis is my passion. It's my love, and I still enjoy tennis. So once I'm on the court, I fight and I enjoy the adrenaline and the spirit, and of course the winning and the losing feeling. So that's why I offered to come and offer to help him, and maybe even for the future, for the local people, to show them that tennis is not only about professional sports, but it's also about enjoying finding the friendship and all this stuff which belongs to sport. So hopefully I will be able to promote more, not only professional tennis, but also more about tennis, more to speak to the kids, more to speak to you guys. And just feel free anytime you have any questions. I'm here, and I don't bite. I'm just person as you, and not any kind of superstar from bone or flesh. Like this, feel free.
This is a true story. When Dominic called me, I was in a meeting in my office, and I had an unknown number, and the Futures had just recently come into the internet, and I said, I better answer this. Maybe it's something about the Futures. And sure enough, it was some foreign voice, and maybe this guy wants a wild card or something. And so I blew him off. I said, if you need to talk to me, you need to email me, because I'm pretty busy. And so I finished my meeting and went downstairs, and on my computer was the name Dominic Herbate.
So he still saw this as spam.
Telling me about he wants to come to Guam and things. This is not true. So my reply was, this is very interesting, let's talk about it some more. And he sent me his phone number, and then we started to communicate, and eventually I believe he was actually Rick, you apologize. He just found out about this today. I'm sorry, Dominic.
Dominic, are you going to be playing singles and doubles?
Yeah, I will be playing singles and doubles. I want to play with the coach of Patrick. His name is Javon Grant. He used to be also ex-professional. He was about 150 in the world. So he's a good player. We played, actually we won one tournament already this year. It was a prize money tournament in the Caribbean. Then we played last week in Bangkok, since we played against our players, Patrick Davidson and Saket Mineni, which is #1 seeded here, and he's also part of our team. So we just could not beat them, so we just had to. I know I should not say that, it's supervisory, but it's kind of like seeing coach and player, so you know, for them it makes sense. That's their future, and they need to play. We as a players, our coaches, for us it doesn't matter. We keep going and win the tournament, or we lose for the round. We play for fun.
What do you like about coaching? How is it different? How is it different for you than playing on the tour?
It's very different, and maybe one of the things, I don't do the full-time coach. This is more maybe only my part-time job, because I do it only a couple times a year and I help them. I'm not full-time with these guys. Is that there is so much traveling. As a coach, you have to travel 35, maybe 30 weeks a year, which is a lot, and I have a family. I traveled 20 years of my life, so that's why I don't do it full-time. But still, I enjoy it very much, because when I was a player, the difference is that when I was a player, it was all about me, all about how I played, how I prepared. Basically, I was the one who decides how the match goes, and I could, in the important moments, I was the one that either I made a good job or I made a bad job and I lost. So it was my decisions. As a coach, sometimes you just sit there behind the corner and you're hopeless, because you can have the tactics, you can set up everything right, but it's the player's decision. Of course, many times when he wins, you are happy. When he loses, you are sad. It's a team, so that takes both of it. But still, you are not the one that can turn the match, you know, the way you like to go, or help. Sometimes you just feel that you can help him, but you can't. On the other hand, because there is no coaching allowed. There is you cannot jump on the court and do it for him. So he has to be the one who is going to be responsible for his result. But still, it's nice because you learn many things, and you learn. I found many things that if I would know as a player, I would be maybe a better player. But that's, I think, part of the life that you learn as the time goes. And I'm just a different person now than I was when I started. But it's nice, and I enjoy it very much.
How long have you been retired from the tour?
My last match was. I mean, officially never retired, but I play only one tournament a year usually. So you guys are lucky that I played this one. My last official match, what I consider as official last match, was November 2010.
I serve the board right now for the Guam National Tennis Federation, and we're looking more towards the future of our kids. Is it possible for anything in your opportunity in the future that you could be offering some sort of a clinic, or just to see how we, as a youth, has prospered, or let us know what we need to do in terms of improving our youth to match up with some of the competitions that are there in the future?
I spoke about this with Torgun over the WhatsApp in the past weeks. He already asked me that in the future that maybe if I can help, or we talked about it, and there is always a good chance. Of course, it's different side of the world, but I told him I love to travel. I love to travel with the family, and you never know, I might come for holidays, and during my holidays I just can help, because I have no problem with it. I was in Palau a couple years ago, and I went for my personal holidays, and nobody asked me for that, but there was in Palau Pacific Resort these kids playing every day. I think Torgun knows the lady there.
Yeah, we're just saying that. We're good friends.
And I just turned up one day and we spoke, and then every day I played almost 1.5 hours with the kids. They were very happy. I think I made a couple of pictures with them, some autographs, and it was nice. I mean, why not to give it back to players? I mean, I can tell one story from my life. That when I was 15, 16, I played my junior Roland Garros, and there was time that I was already a pretty good player, but I still had my heroes there, like Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, Leon, and I was just running like crazy around the stadium to get all these autographs. I had the t-shirts from all of the players, and then in 2 years after, I was 16, when I was 18, then 2 years after Australian Open, I suddenly played Sampras last 16 Australian Open, and I almost beat him. So this is something that you remember, you know, you play because as a kid your heart is so clean that you play because of this, not because of money, because of life, because of somebody. You just play because of love it. And this is something that, why not, if the kids ask me, I'm always there for them.
We are going to be planning and scheduling some clinics, and Dominic's going to be available to talk to the kids and give them some advice about, like he says, not everybody's made out to be top 100 in the world, but you just make the best of what you can and enjoy it, and try to maybe take your potential to the best of your personal potential. And that's what we want to try to promote for our kids.
And also, I spoke with one journalist a couple of days ago, and I told him tennis is not only, as you say, professional, but many of friends I know from, because Slovakia is not the richest country, but many of friends I had, they played tennis, they finished when they were 15, 16, from the tournament level, but they still keep going. And once they finish their high school, many of them, they get scholarship in US. They write email themselves to schools, then the coaches came, the scholarships. So many of the parents, they would not be able to afford to get these scholarships. And with the sports, they get this opportunity now. Some of them, they have a good life because they have a good school, and they made it to good positions in companies. And also some of them, and part of them, that they didn't make it to the schools, they didn't want to go. They have other jobs, but also it's opportunity. One, let's say there is a crisis and they lose the job, they can still give tennis lessons, so they can get some still extra money as a coaching. So it's also part of something that you have always back up in your life, and also you meet a lot of interesting people in sports. I met so many interesting people, from presidents of countries to ordinary people, and you never know when this contact can be good about. So sports is not only to do it because your kids, you want to, from your kid to become somebody, but you get friendships, and these friendships will help.
Yeah, there's other opportunities too in tennis, like I'm sure Gary's being a referee supervisor. Many of you heard about Swami. He's here in the audience. He's been a line umpire at the highest level of the Australian Open. So we have a Guam tennis guy who is in the Australian Open. Maybe not as a player, but we reached the top level in some aspect. So we just do what we can. And the administration of running a tennis tournament or these things, it all, now we need to meet this guy, So it all.
No, next year maybe you meet somebody else, and somebody will get some good players.
Yeah, maybe it'll be the thing to. Dominic will tell everybody to come along. A different person in the year.
Definitely.
A question for Gary.
Yep.
What's the main difference between the Futures and the Challenger and ATP? What's the main difference?
Well, in terms of players' level, you can always say that the top player, they always play the highest tournaments like the Grand Slam, and then followed by the Challengers, and then the ITF Futures will be mostly for the starters. Players, well, every player they have to go through all the stages. They start from Futures, and then when they reach the high ranking, then they play the Challengers, and then when they are the top 100 or so, they can play in the Grand Slams.
I went also through it, everybody.
Yeah.
Long time ago, 1994.
A question for Dominic. Dominic, what do you know about Guam as far as the weather goes? How do you prepare with your players for this heat?
We already been in Bangkok, so it cannot be worse than that, probably. But there was 37 every day and 100% humidity, so it was like a washing machine. But that's why we have here at camps, come with me, our fitness coach, his name is Thomas. And I can say I've been at the top level of tennis, and I can say he's one of the best world fitness coaches around the world. So if you have any fitness magazine, you should talk to him. He because he knows a lot about, even me, I was surprised how much he knows about fitness. We work with the players from NHL, from football, with tennis. It's a very, very interesting subject also to talk. And he's the one who helps us to get ready for these kind of conditions. You start all with the food, what you drink, when you drink, how you drink your drinks, because you have to be, you know, I don't know the word, hydrated or hydrated. You have to have a good food to have in the evening or before the match, because if you eat the wrong food, then you will feel sick, and you need plenty of energy for the match. So it also depends what you eat. Plus, you have to do good fitness, but fitness is not only 2 days before the match. It has to be continuing during the whole year. So this all makes you ready for this kind of weather, and believe me, there are way worse places than this one. And I played in this kind of weathers, especially in Australia, where is that heat rule, and I have experience of a couple of matches there, and that's a hell. So this is still nice, but for many players also will be difficult because they are very unfamiliar with this kind of weather. They will struggle definitely. But that's why we as a team, and we are the lucky ones to have this opportunity to have a fitness coach. Yes.
Jill, I just want to thank our, the Tennis Federation for going forward with the futures again after 1 year off, and giving me the opportunity to be the tournament director again. And of course, I sit at the table, but there's so many people that do so much work with all of the organization and the planning, the committees of. It's unbelievable how much there has to be done, so this guy doesn't get mad. And a lot of details to be worked out, and many volunteers, and thanks to all the volunteers, thanks to the sponsors. Our $10,000 prize money tournament takes so much to put on, because we don't have the qualified officials here. We don't have the certified officials. We have to bring in the supervisor from another country. We have to bring in the chair umpires from another country, et cetera, et cetera. And these people are professionals that have a salary. That's their job. We pay them. We put them up in the hotel. We're required to feed them, et cetera, et cetera. So it's quite a big undertaking without the sponsors to support us. Lacoste is outfitting all of our officials, as well as some cash to help us with the expenses. GVB Sports Tourism. This is sports tourism at its best. We had 134 entries to the tournament, and from 34 different countries. So the tournament is giving some exposure for Guam, and the Sports Tourism Fund is helping to put that exposure out. Dominic would have never known about us if we didn't have this. I mean, he saw Guam on the calendar and gave me a call. It's all these kind of things. Other people are looking at it. Maybe they're not making the call yet, but maybe in the future they will come. Gary talked about the starters opportunity, and because Guam is where it is, and the way this tournament is, in 2011 we had 5 players who got their first ATP point in Guam, and so they became world ranked, and that's a big step in a player's career, to go from not being ranked to being ranked, because now they have more opportunity to get into the tournaments because they have some more credibility. And so it's good that Guam has that ability to offer that, because we don't have so many of the locals in the country to flood the draw, and so it's a good opportunity for the starting players like Patrick. And he got his first point, I think, in Bangkok last week.
He already had 2 points before, but they dropped out because he was injured. But this year there is
this year was
break point. So We were hoping here, but we made it earlier, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Stole our thunder.
Yeah.
So,
Another question. A couple years ago, 2 years ago, when we had the Futures here, Junito and Daniel Yu played a great final. Are those guys coming back? Who's coming back? What can we be looking for? I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but who are some of the names that people want to come and watch?
Junito is coming back. He's not playing regularly anymore. He was a college player at the time, and he was a finalist. He's coming back. He's going to have a wild card into the main draw because he's not playing. And we did invite the winner to come back. And so we kept to that, even though we didn't have a tournament last year, we invited him this year. Some of the other returning players are Jun Tsuhashi is back. He was a finalist against Tatsuro Ito. Tatsuro Ito reached up to number 60 last year from the champion of the 2010 Futures. So he was playing all the Grand Slams. And who else is coming back this year? We have Miki is here in 2010. Some players were here in 2010 are coming back this year. Some are like came both years. Upe Sato was he was a finalist in the doubles last year. Brandon Moore won the doubles last year. He's coming back. He was on a protected ranking. He's been injured, but he's starting to make his comeback.
Maybe I make my comeback.
Find the bug again. Maybe the alligator's going to bite him or something. So of course, you know, when I see people, they say, when's Herbate's match? You know, everybody wants to know about the former number 12 in the world, and the guy who has a winning record against Federer and Nadal, right? But it's on 10 o'clock Monday we start. Come on out.
So here's for Dominic. Dominic, what do you expect? Do you expect to get through the draw, win the tournament? Are you going to play this as competitively as you played when you were playing on the ATP Tour?
Of course, when I will be on the court, I will fight, and I will do the best I can. But you have to remember one thing, that I'm retired, so my level, if they will be same as I played 10 years ago, I will not be here, but I will be playing Roland Garros now. So of course, tennis you don't forget. You don't forget writing or reading. I still have that, but I have my limitations since I had two surgeries. Why? That's why, because I finished, and I still can play well. Maybe as many people that they never seen tennis or they never tried, they will not be able to realize that what is the difference between me there and now. So they will think that I still play really good, but in my eyes, I know that I'm very different player than I used to be. But still, if I have a good day, I can still beat top 100 guys, which is pretty good. But there can be a day that my hand is not good and I'm struggling there, then I'm struggling also with my tennis. So yeah, it can happen that I can win the tournament here, but it can happen that I win 1 or 2 rounds and then I lose. But definitely also on the other hand, I'm not practicing as much as I used to. I used to be one of the fittest tennis players in the world. I used to practice only 5 to 6 hours tennis a day plus fitness. My day was from 8 in the morning to 9:30 in the evening, basically filled up with tennis, and every day for 20 years. There is no weekends, there is no Sundays, there is no holidays. You get holidays 10 days a year in November. So that's why my hand got how it is, but I don't regret it. But still, probably everybody will think that Herbate is going to win it. It's the mentality of the people, but I do everything for it to make you happy guys. But you have to understand that I'm more enjoying life, my family, and tennis is still part of my life, but it's not on the first place.
I think the expectation will be that. I saw something this morning, and they asked, when do you play? And surely the top seed and he's the favorite, and I said, well, he's, you know, like you said, like you told me, I don't, you know, I'm not like practicing professionally anymore, etc. And maybe Gary, you can explain why Dominic is not the top seed and how the rankings and seeding works, who's accepted.
Okay. But firstly, for accepting into the tournament, well, based on the ITF rankings or the AP rankings, and then the highest ranked player will be the top seed for the tournament, and then we go down the list, and if you got a high ranking, then you'll be accepted into the tournament for the high priority. And because well, during the week there's so many tournaments around in the region, that's why we didn't get so many good ranked players because well, they play somewhere else. And that's why, but it will be a good opportunity for the younger players or those players without any rankings. It's a good chance to get points because every match you win in the main draw. After the first match, then you got 1 point, and then based on how many points you got in the tournament, then your ranking will be up the ladder. And that's why every player will fight for the best to get the points.
Yeah, it's because Dominic doesn't play much anymore. He doesn't have many. He doesn't have many points. Yeah, one tournament a year, you can only earn so many points. So therefore, his ranking is not high anymore. But that doesn't mean that his, like you said, learn how to read, learn how to write.
You don't forget it.
Don't forget it. Sometimes the shoulder doesn't work as well.
But sometimes it's still enough for on these levels.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's going to be enough during the whole week.
So Gary, when a player plays, an unranked player,
Yes.
if they play during the tournament, they accumulate points. Do they accumulate bonus points if they beat a ranked player? And also, as they progress forward in the tournament, like in the semifinals, do they get also points being in the semifinals? And also the winner eventually?
Well, for the distribution of points in the tournament, well, firstly, it will based on the total prize money. The higher prize money tournaments, they have more points. For example, the ATP 1000, that means the winner of the tournament will get 1,000 points. And then for this tournament, because it's a 10,000 tournament only, the winner will get 26 points. And then well, these finalists will got 18 points, etc. That means well, the higher round that you reach, the more points that you get.
But there's no bonus points.
No
Yeah.
bonus for beating?
So it used to be in the history.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in 2003 or 4 that they canceled it. Maybe 2002.
Yes.